Welcome community. Welcome to another podcast slash live feed interview. This time with Rhonda Swan from the Unstoppable Branding Agency. She's CEO and founder of this amazing sexy branding agency. Plus, she of course with Brian Hanalei is the Unstoppable family, who most people in Bali know about. If you're in Bali and you have never heard of the Unstoppable family, yeah, get under that rock where you're hiding, because something is off. You're not living your best life in Bali. So I love it that I can come on the show here. Basically, I'm on your show, you're on our show. It's awesome. I have a couple of questions. So basically, you've been traveling the world for the last 12, even more, 15, 16 years. And I lost count. It's amazing. And you are inspiring individuals, families to live their best life, to take more out of the life that they're living, follow their dreams. And you do that with first with your Unstoppable family brand, and now you help female entrepreneurs with their sexy branding, right?
That's it. Thanks, Michael. Really, really nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, cool. So can you, for the people who don't know you, who are under that rock, can you give a little bit of recap? How does this amazing story started?
Yeah, no, I mean, thanks for the introduction. You know, I consider myself the Unstoppable mama of the Unstoppable family, and I'm also the CEO of our branding agency, like you had mentioned. But the story actually comes from a pretty deep place. I was a corporate executive for one of the largest companies in the world, a Fortune 100 company, and my husband Brian was a robotics engineer. So we both met surfing 22 years ago in San Diego. And, we started creating what we would call the American dream, which is, you get married, you get the new house, you're working your corporate jobs, and then you decide to upgrade so that you can have a family. And then you're, just doing this picket fence kind of thing that eventually you get to retire so that you can travel with your family. Well, one day I witnessed a woman putting a brand new baby in daycare. So here I am, this big corporate executive. I'm groomed to run the Western division of this company. I'm managing over $500 million advertising and marketing campaigns every year. And I was, that was who I was. I have a master's degree in business and in marketing. And, I wanted to be one of the big corporate executives. And I went to a meeting one morning. It was a Monday morning. San Diego traffic's about an hour. So of course I leave at like 6 a.m. Brian and I were sleepwalking, I called it, in the hallway. Like literally we're both waking up at 5 in the morning. We're trying to do a little bit of, exercise in the morning, and boom, getting ready to leave for work to jump in the car for an hour. And it was like literally sleepwalking in the hallway, both getting ready to go to our jobs. So I get to this meeting, and my boss, she starts up the meeting, and everyone's there. And of course, we're really poised. So she's super strict. And a woman walks in the meeting late, about 10 minutes late. And I sit there and witness this. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this woman, why would you do this? It's Monday. Like, oh, everyone's like, oh. And she's like, you're late. And the woman, this shifted my whole being, and why I'm doing what I'm doing today, and why our family's traveled the world for the last 12 straight years, 13 actually, November will be 13 years. And she said, I'm so sorry, I'm late. I just had a brand new baby, and I dropped her off at daycare, and she's 6 weeks old. This woman's lip was trembling, and she was so deeply sad. And she's like, it was so hard. I'm so sorry. I won't do it again. And my boss said, if you want to, ever put food in this baby's plate or keep this job, you'll never be late to a meeting. You're going to put your baby in daycare, and you're going to pick her up at 6 o'clock. And that's how it is. And so here I am. I don't have a child yet. We're just newly married. I've got this new big 5-bedroom house. I'm like, is that who I'm going to be? I'm going to become this woman who forces, other women to put their babies in daycare. And I just had a big shift in my life. And I went home and I told my husband, Brian, like, you know what? I'm out. I'm not doing this job anymore. This is not who I want to be. And he's like, wait a minute. We just bought a 5-bedroom house. We need your income. Are you crazy? And I said, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm going to figure this thing out because there's no way I would even feel fulfilled as a woman to do that. And that's what I did. I started figuring out and looking at what was happening in the marketplace. This is really when the internet really kicked in, and Steve Jobs did a big interview, and he said, if you, in the next 10 years, so this was in 2004, he's like, in the next 10 years, if you are not leveraging the internet, if you're not finding ways to connect and communicate virtually, you will miss the boat. And I listened to him, I'm like, wait a minute, this is 2004, right? Whoa, okay. So I started just researching business models online, ways to leverage the internet. I learned, Perry Marshall is one of my gurus, and I learned Google Ads from Perry Marshall. And I started just taking and finding different products and programs that people wanted. And one of them was personal development. And so I started reselling personal development programs from like Bob Proctor, John, DeMartini, Joe Dispenza, goodness, so the list goes, Andy Andrews, the list goes on. And I just started marketing and selling these products because at that time, Robert Kiyosaki was so big. And sure enough, I found ways to connect with someone else, solve a problem that they had, and sell them a product. And I was able to quit my job in about 3 months. Brian thought I was crazy, and everyone else thought I was crazy. And I didn't care. Their fear was not big enough for me to bypass my vision and my dream to have a family and not have to put a child in daycare. And so I quit my job. I retired Brian in about a year from his corporate executive position as a robotics engineer and started our company. And so here we are.
Awesome. That's really, that's an amazing story. And that's been that impact moment that you had in the office on a Monday morning. That's basically changed your life and opened up these new doors and this whole new way of living. So that's been 13 years ago now, you said. You've been traveling for 13 years, have been traveling over 50 countries, lived in them.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that because I quit my job 15 years ago, but we've been traveling for almost 13. And the reason why we actually started to travel had nothing to do with me quitting my job. In fact, I quit my job and we did really, really well for 3 years and grew our business to multiple, 6+ figures. And we decided right when I said, okay, it's time now, let's have a child and let's start getting this family ready. We invested really heavily into real estate. And this is, of course, in the financial crisis in 07, 08. Real estate was just booming in San Diego. We'd sold several houses. So we said, why not take, this cash that we've earned and put it into a big real estate development. And in 2007, we not only made the most money of our life, but we also lost everything. And so we, like many Americans, and of course other people around the world, went through a big defining moment. Here I am, now I'm pregnant, going to have a baby, and I'm like, all these dreams, all this, this that I worked for is now crumbling. And we found out we literally lost everything. Every IRA, all of our savings, everything that we had, we put into this project. And then my daughter's born. And I'm sitting in this, massive house in the hill in La Jolla, multi-million-dollar home, all this stuff, these cars, these things, and I'm holding a baby going, I failed you, right? So everyone else is saying, go back, get your job. The internet thing, you guys did fine for 3 years, but now be responsible. Now you've got a child, be responsible. And there's all this fear-based information that was coming in and people and family and friends. And instead, Brian and I looked at each other and said, our bank account doesn't define who we are as human beings. It doesn't define who I am as a parent. And if I already have done it, like working on the internet, like if I already have this business foundation, I've now learned to market. Let's continue. Let's move forward. However, we needed to get out of the environment and the mental agony and space that we were in. And so the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, came out, Tim Ferriss. And Tim Ferriss wrote a chapter about taking a mini retirement. Set your business up so that it can be run without you or have it run virtually. And we took all those steps and said, you know what? let's just sell everything, because we literally, trying to sell prosperity conscious products, personal development, it's a little difficult when you're living and feeling like you're in poverty consciousness, right? So we had to make some really big shifts, and we had some great mentors. In fact, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, we talked to them personally and said, look, what should we do? And they're like, you just need to forgive this guy, get through it, forgive this guy, and then make some big decisions to move forward. And that's what we did. We literally sold everything we had, and we left on November 25th. On November 25th, 2008, with $12,862.72 to our name, with a vision and a vow to never put our daughter in daycare, and to recreate our life, and to really inspire other people that you can do it too. And that's what we did. So now, this is why it's such a cool moment that we're talking about the story, is that this November 25th, coming up, will be our 13th year of traveling the world. We've never looked back. And now, of course, we've built multiple 7-figure empires.
Awesome. That's amazing. It's an amazing story. And that's so much things have been, you probably can talk for hours of all the 12, 13 years of experiences you have during that whole period, being successful in your business, being a mother, being a wife. Going back to your first story, I could never see Brian not being a surfer. So you said he was in robotics or something, but therefore I just know him as.
Yeah, he was a robotics engineer. Now, of course, full-time surfer.
Pretty cool. So in this whole 13 years, what have been a couple of the biggest challenges that you had? What?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge is certainly, you go from like this identity shift, right? From being these big corporate people and very successful to now you've got one bag each, you've got a 1-year-old baby, and we're moving into third world countries and living in third world countries. Now, that alone is a challenge mentally. However, the biggest challenge was, this is also in 2008. Skype just started, right? So here we are running our business virtually. We're speaking with clients. No WhatsApp, no social media. Well, social media just came in. YouTube had just started. Facebook wasn't out yet. And we are connecting with people through a website and an 800 number. So they're calling an 800 number saying, I'd love to speak with you, right? And we're talking with them about prosperity consciousness and how, these are the type of programs we've used to elevate our life. And we're talking to these people, and we're selling them products through Skype. And people are wiring, they're sending us FedEx checks to our office, which was Brian's parents in Florida, while we're away. And it was unbelievable to consider that people at that time, like, this was a big trust factor, right? Like, you're speaking with these people over the phone, over Skype. You don't know who they are. We're giving them pictures and showing us, traveling the world and saying, look, you can do this too. And it's like the shift. So that was a big challenge, right? To not only build a virtual business, but speak with people on Skype and have them trust you. So there were so many little things. Like, we've traveled now to 57 different countries. My daughter has gone to school in, half of those different countries. And, I think the biggest lessons in all of this is really resilience, right? Being able to know what you want and who you are, no matter what kind of money you've got in the bank, but being a true human being that is really there for humanity and showcasing that. And we were one of the first people that became the real digital nomads. Like, there wasn't even a name then, right? And here we are, a family traveling around the world and showing people it was possible. So, like, we've been in Tim Ferriss's books. We've been in, like, the Art of Nonconformity books about, like, how we've done it, because people were like, it's such an easy thing now because we've got everything. But back then, it was such a big challenge.
Yeah, I'm imagine. Yeah, it's definitely something you can look back and be proud of. It's an amazing journey that you guys have been through. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now, because the Unstoppable Branding Agency. People watching this, maybe if they want to know why I'm wearing my hat inside, that's just because I like. Okay, we're gonna talk about branding. The first time we met, we talked about my hat. I'm not sure if you remember, but we were at the W Hotel drinking cocktails. It was very much fun. First time I heard you guys speak on stage, heard your daughter speak, and I was wearing my hat. And I remember people coming up to me and telling me, hey, you're that guy with that hat from the videos. It was back then. I was promoting my retreat, and you're the dive dude. And people recognized me by by my hat. So this was basically, we talked about it, and then I decided, okay, I'm just gonna start wearing my hat all the time because apparently it's working. People do, connect with me with my hat. Even much so, I was on a radio show last Sunday, and we made a photo inside the studio, and I posted that photo in my podcast, and I got a response from somebody, "Where's your hat?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So you are dedicated to help women create sexy brands to get out there and stuff like that. So how do you create a sexy brand?
Well, yeah, great question. I don't just work with women. However, I do really heavily, I have such a connection, right, to helping women really take their passions and turn it into a brand, something that they can productize their knowledge and really showcase it. And I like to say sexy branding because a sexy brand, as a definition in our company, is someone that really knows who they are, what they do, and they really provide a service that is undeniable, right? Like I help my clients be competition, irrelevant. Meaning, when you have something that's so quality, you solve a problem for someone, and then of course, your brand image, your message, and your strategy is so solid. You don't have to worry about someone else, right? That's really sexy to me. Someone that is so proud of who they are and what they do that they're willing to put themselves out there. And so I've literally launched over 162 new brands, products, and messages to the world just in the last 24 months alone. Worked with thousands of people on crafting their message, really creating an irresistible offer, and then productizing and digitizing their products and productizing their knowledge. And more recently, what I've realized is that when you are now building a sexy brand, you've got the foundations, you've got an audience, then the next step is elevating it through PR and media. And so our company, our PR division is really our more of our cornerstone of the company now, because if you're a brand that has a quality message and an offer, well, you can sit on or stand on a soapbox with a megaphone and say, look how great I am, look what I've done. You can have clients talk about you as well, and that does really well. However, when you have publications like Forbes magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. Magazine saying, this company is doing great things for the world and showcasing your story, now you've got credibility. And so that's where now we've really heavily been leaning towards in our value ladder of our agency, where we used to start with brand idea concept, create the brand image, the message, the strategy, and then PR. Now we're working from the top. So now I've really focused my our brand strategy, and we're working now more with clients, entrepreneurs, experts that really have a message that needs to be out to the world. They're making big shifts. They're conscious entrepreneurs. Their companies are ethical, and they're really creating sustainability and inspiring people. So now we're working from the top down, working heavily on getting qualified entrepreneurs featured in Forbes magazine, Entrepreneur, and then we're helping them craft that message and turn that brand even more sexy. So it's been a really cool transition and way that I work, because it's nice when you can see the growth of your company, right, where you're helping these startups grow, to now really working with the audience that was a startup. Now they're already heavily, really successful. Now we're bringing it back down again and doing repositioning and branding. So that's what sexy branding is to me. Someone that really can just showcase what they do and how they do it and really help change people's lives with their work.
Yeah, awesome. Yes, I do recognize that there's a shift into more sustainability, conscious awareness, branding, that really making an impact in the world, making the world better. That's also something that you guys do. That's something that your daughter stands for with her branding and her fashion label. So yeah, it's pretty cool how you explain it. So it's not sexy in a dirty way. It's sexy, you're out there.
That's
You're
right.
already standing for your business. You know what your mission is. You know what your who you are in the world and what you want to be. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, and of course, as a branding expert, using triggering words, right? Polarizing statements that makes people lean in, just like your hat. You're like, oh, who is this guy, right? What is this Michael about? When I say sexy brands, people are like, oh, I want to know what that is, right? So then they listen to my message even more.
True, true. Yeah, that's also a reason why I focus on the Dutch market, helping my clients, mostly Dutch, because it's much easier for me to translate or to basically share my message with a Dutch audience when we're talking about the right words, the right messaging. For me, it's a lot easier to do it in my own language than do it in English. Besides, there's so many people doing it already in English. Yeah. Now, well, before you become, basically, you were focusing on the Unstoppable branding agency. You were the Unstoppable family. That was a whole brand on its own already. And of course, yeah, a big part of it is Hannah Lay, your daughter. And she's now then 13, I think, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So you've been, because first time I saw her, I was blown away. That was 2 years ago on stage. I saw her speak a couple of times more. It's very impressive to see an 11-year-old talk to so many people. Basically get the whole stage, the whole audience alive and motivated, and she's very strong in her messaging. So
She's, you know what? She just walked in the door. We should bring her in really quickly. Should we do that? She just literally walked into my studio. Can we do that, Michael? Bring Hanley in here really quick to say hi. No, I think it's amazing. Yeah, so we start off as our Unstoppable family, but that was our travel brand. That's how we started. And it was really about inspiration and bringing more people, just helping them see that a family can come together and can develop and build something. And that's where the Unstoppable Family brand came from. And I think the cool part is, and Hanley will come in a minute, is that she was able to see what we went through, right? So what we went through as a family, and then how we built our business. And what happened for her is that she was now, instead of learning from a textbook, she was learning from real life experiences, right? She's seeing Brian and I learn new forms of marketing, right? Because all this new social media stuff kept popping up and things kept happening. So we're doing videos constantly and sharing a message and doing this, right? And just doing these constant marketing strategies that became really natural, and they're very natural now to these kids, right? But Hanley was really little. So she's been on camera and learning about how to just share a story as a very young person. And so when she was about 7, we asked her, instead of, and I love when she says it, so we'll wait for her to come in. We asked her a really cool question, and it really shifted her mindset. And instead of asking her, what do you want to be when you grow up, we asked her a very different question. And it shifted her mindset of really what she could do. And I think most kids are, their parents talk to them opposed to with them or at their same level. And so instead of us, saying, you should do this or you should do that and listen to us because we're the adults, we were listening to her. Here we are in these third world countries and we're meeting different cultures. Like Hanale's been a minority all her life, right? She's, been one of the only, white girls in Caucasian, females traveling in Mexico and, in Peru and Brazil and all these places. Come on over here, lovely. Just real quick, I just want you to say hi. Come on this side, just to say hi real quick. Yeah. There she is. We're just talking about you. But just put your knee up real quick. Michael, just wanted to ask you, she's actually getting ready to leave for her studio. She's an artist and she's got a new company that she's been running. We were just talking about how when we had asked you, what do you want to be, instead of what do you want to be when you grow up, we asked you,
what do you want to be now?
Yeah, what do you want to be now? And that kind of gave you some, permission to really create something, Just really quick, because I know you're leaving, just wanted to, just say hi and what transpired for you in that moment.
Yeah,
it's a powerful question.
Yeah. So when I got asked, what do I want to be now instead of what do I want to be when what do I want to be now instead of what do I want to be when I grow up, it kind of shifted my perspective on what I could truly do and be now. As kids, we get often asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be in the future? What do you want to be when you're older? we never ask what do you want to be now, and really the impact that we can share, because no matter what age we're at, we can truly do anything as long as we put our mind to it. So it's opening a different perspective to just let kids do what they want and let them inspire
and their creativity grow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was, she just said I wanted to be fashion designer. I don't even think you really knew what that quite meant. I mean, you understood it, but it just started to develop because you not only created the creativity. I think this is important. Would you say, because Dad and I have the business sense and you have the creative sense, you learned it all naturally, however, your creativity really developed because you were just doing what you loved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now Hanalee's got a new company. We'll share with them really quick because I know you have to go. What your new company is, like she's got her sustainable brand. Tell about your brand and then what your new company is, and then you can roll out of here. She's like, why'd you pull me in here, Mom?
Yeah. So what my new company is called Unify Masks and Apparel. When Corona and kind of the pandemic hit, we had to completely change what our company was, because now no one was buying clothing and we weren't able to ship. We had to let go of a lot of our employees, but we realized we could change and pivot into what people need now. And we're like, we have all this amazing fabric, why don't we create something that people will use and that people can use right now, which is reusable masks, because masks are so good for our environment, single-use masks, and now there's even more pollution of that. So using a lot of materials like bamboo and a lot of eco-friendly materials, we were able to pivot my company into merging it with one of our friends' company, and we have been able to create something amazing.
Yeah, so now they've got a unified brand, and it's in now. They're making beautiful masks. They're 3-ply masks with like filters, and they're making like branded masks now for big Hollywood movie sets. And it's pretty beautiful because it's such a quality product. And it was just their zones of geniuses went, what do we do? And they pivoted and turned it into, what do you guys call it? What's their
functionally fashionable.
Functionally fashionable, and they're really beautiful. We don't have one here, but we can show you guys. But yeah, that's just a cool thing that you've done, and I appreciate you popping in here. I know I pulled her in without her wanting to. She's going to her studio today, right?
Yeah, I have to leave.
She's got to leave right now. Her driver's here. She's going to her studio. You're going to do some painting on the walls, and she's got a new factory and studio. Yeah. Thanks, Hanalee.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Michael. It's pretty cool to let people, on your show really see the truth of what, comes of tragedies and what comes from families that just come together, and be mindful and conscious about how we can help create our children's,
It's very awesome. Because I just had a call with a friend of mine last week in Jamaica, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to show you the wedding dress I got for my wife, for my fiance. So he picked up the wedding dress for his fiance, and it was Hanalee's dress. So basically, pretty cool. So so he saw that one 2 years ago when he was at the same event that I met you guys, and he was like, he saw that dress, and he's like, okay. 2 years later, when he at this wedding, he just, hey, I want to have that dress. So he just a couple of weeks, it just got delivered. He was very happy with it. He showed me on the Zoom call. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was so amazing for them to call us, and then Hanalee made them all kinds of special stuff. She made them masks that had beautiful white roses for like wedding masks, and it was really, really lovely. We were super honored for them to remember and to come back. So we were really happy to support them.
He made a video about me and my partner. It's called Our Story. He did an amazing job in basically showcasing our travels for the last 2 years in our lifestyle in Bali. It's pretty amazing. So, okay, but I have one more very important question. There's a lot of people who are following me also in the Netherlands do want to become freedompreneurs. They want to become location independent, but they always say, I can't do it because I have children. And so how do you raise an unstoppable kid?
Well, like I was sharing, like you literally give them permission to make decisions. You empower them to make good decisions and not be the parent that tells them what to do. We read a book called Celestine Prophecies, actually before Hanalee was born. And there was a point in this book, and it was so impactful for us. And it was a woman, she was with her small daughter, who was like 6, and a man said, oh, how old is your daughter? And the woman said, well, why don't you ask her? And that shifted, like literally just empowering that child that they're important. And so we started doing that and implementing that. When people would talk to us about Hanalei, we're like, she's a human. Treat her like she should be spoken to, and really allowed her to feel that she was important. So we started implementing things like that. And then we, Michael Lozier wrote one of the books called Law of Attraction and How to Implement It in Your Life. And he said, look, take this challenge. Remove the words don't, not, and no from your vocabulary and see how difficult it is. And it allowed us to realize how much negative reinforcements that we use in our daily life. Instead of saying, oh, where do you want to go for dinner? Or what do you want for dinner? How many of us reply, I don't want pizza. I definitely don't want Chinese. Why is it that we're not programmed to say, I want mac and cheese? I want this. See, the way society is, and the way that we all were brought up, is that we're almost told not to say what we want. We'd rather take the step back and say what we don't want. And that then creates a negative reinforcement. So instead of telling Hanalei, don't go in the water, we would say, walk around the puddle. Tell them what to do. So it guides their mind into making decisions that they actually want. There's a reason why when parents say, don't jump in that puddle, kids jump in the puddle, because subconsciously they don't hear don't, they hear jump in the puddle. And then of course parents then get upset and it causes all this drama. Whereas if we just got very mindful of the mind that we were crafting and molding, and allow that mind to expand and to see the world for what it is, and that the world respects them, that they can make quality decisions and help guide them to making a positive movement or decision and speak to them in a positive light, they then become unstoppable, right? They trust themselves. They don't have to go, Mom, can I? Like Hanalei hasn't had to ask, can I go to the bathroom? That seems ridiculous to me, right? And so we're so programmed in society and school systems, right? I'm not going to even go deeply into that because there's so much that has to be said about what's going on right now in the world and how we can take our minds back. However, I want parents to realize you can actually start right now with your kids. Empower them to not be suppressed and not to, have to rely on them. Hanalei will be able to rely on herself for the rest of her life. She understands business. She understands being a good human. She knows to make good quality decisions. And she will be able to survive in society no matter what happens in the world.
I remember that you as parents, you were really focused on teaching her consequences.
Yeah.
And that's really stuck by me. And that's, I think that really is a good idea. It worked. And she, like you said, she's ready to take on the world.
That's it. Make decisions, but know that they have consequences, good or bad, right? So if you're going to, let's say, food for kids, like if you're going to eat all of that chocolate, just know you could get a bellyache, right? So just know. So instead of going, don't you do that, right? You kind of let them see and they start to figure things out. Now, certainly if they get injured, right, you're going to make sure that you're guiding them properly. However, they can make the right decisions. But what happens, we say, you're not eating all that. No way, you haven't had dinner yet. Then they're like, you're just telling me what to do. So what do? They want to go against you. So instead of saying, no problem, do that. There's going to be some consequences, and you're going to have to deal with it. And then now they learn really quickly that probably eating all that chocolate wasn't a good idea, right? So those are small things. However, they're so impactful to a child's development that we, instead of enforcing our limiting beliefs, because there's a lot of beliefs that I grew up with that have nothing to do with her, right? That she should be able to make her own decisions, but understand there will be a good or a bad consequence with that. So risk-taking should be part of our life. It should be part of our development, right? So if she takes a risk and she wins, keep taking more risks. She takes a risk and something happens, like maybe do it a little differently next time, but just keep taking risks. Otherwise, they get fearful, right? And that's how fear gets embedded and kids stop making decisions because they become wrong, right? There's a duality, right? It's a right or a wrong. There should be no right or wrongs. It's just that didn't work out how I expected it to, so do it differently next time, right? And that's what helps not only us as humans, but children realize, like, all right, so the world's not so bad. there is a good and a bad to everything, or something that a positive and negative reinforcement. So if I want to lean towards positive because I enjoy that, I'm going to go there, right? So it's just thinking of different ways of being creative, but helping them make good decisions.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. It's very insightful. I think a lot of parents should start changing their own mindset in what can't be done. I can't travel around the world with a kid. They should apply these tips and basically onto themselves first. So to close up, what kind of advice, tips, last things you want to share with all those freedom entrepreneurs, digital nomads that are here around us in Bali?
Well, I mean, certainly people in Bali, they kind of get it, right? They understand how to do it, what it takes. And I think more importantly, it's like, really focus on what you're great at, right? And really find your swim lane. Allow your brand to be so unique and defined that someone chooses you over and above anyone else. And that's why, I always say, be so great that your signature becomes your autograph. Like, I just want to be the absolute best person and known for sexy branding and PR and media. Like, people come to me, entrepreneurs will come to me because they know I will get their brand, them featured, right? So be the best. Don't try to, copy everyone else or do what someone else is doing. Just be the best and use your authentic voice. Be truly authentic and think like a conscious entrepreneur, right? Get yourself back to grounding. I've really, now that we've been in Bali and we're very fortunate, is going back to nature, realizing that everything's really perfect in nature. And we logically think so much, right? So if companies and people and entrepreneurs start going, wow, what am I really here for, right? Get reconnected with Mother Nature, understand that everything really is perfect. You'll start guiding and you'll begin to navigate with a whole different bit of purpose. Instead of trying to sell someone something, you're now offering, connecting with them something that they really need, and you solve their problem in a really authentic way. And so now, business is just coming at us and flowing because we are just truly who we are and we do what we say. So just live with integrity and authenticity, and you got it.
Definitely, I totally agree. So yeah, thank you very much. So how can people reach you? What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. My company website is Unstoppable Branding Agency. Our families is Unstoppable Family. So those are websites. But you can also find us in, all social. Instagram is a real big one that we really navigate in quite a bit. So Instagram, of course, Facebook as well. But, going to our sites and seeing what we're up to and, a lot of different content that we're putting together is a really great way to follow us on Instagram and in Facebook.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very happy to have this chat with you. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it live. Hopefully next time we can do it live, because that means I can go back to Bali.
Yeah, exactly.
Borders open, because I really miss being in Bali. It's so quiet there now, and it's not bad here in Western Australia, but definitely looking forward to come back there. Thank you very much. Say hi to Brian and Hanalei, and hope to speak soon again.
I will. Thanks so much, Michael. I really, truly appreciate it. Have a great one. I always leave everyone with this. If you're going to create a brand, create a sexy brand. If you're going to be anything, be unstoppable.